Thank you, Shiraz. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. It's an honor for me to be in this forum where I sometimes participate, and most of the times I enjoy the discussions and the learning sessions. I'll try and keep it very short. देखें, risk is as old with the human industry, in human physiology as we are by ourselves. तो थोड़ा सा ये सिक्योरिटी प्रोफेशनल्स का होता है एक डायलेमा कि वी कीप वरिंग फॉर थिंग्स अ लिटिल टू मच. नॉट दैट आई एम सेइंग कि हमें किसी चीज की परवाह नहीं होनी चाहिए. वी गॉट टू बी ऑन द अलर्ट ऑलवेज. बट एक चीज जिसको हम लोग अनबेनोन टू अस थोड़ा सा इग्नोर कर देते हैं कि identification of risks and mitigation is not only the security professional's responsibility. We can actually do our job much better अगर हमारे networking और collaboration organization में अच्छी हो. HR, supply chain, finance, operations, warehouse, so on so forth. हर function जो आपके organization का है वो इसमें contribute कर सकता है. तो किसी भी रिस्क प्रोफेशनल के लिए सबसे बड़ी जो सक्सेस है वो ये है कि उसके कम्युनिकेशंस कितने स्ट्रॉन्ग हैं, और अगर वो ज्यादा उसके साथ स्टेक होल्डर इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं सो ही स्टैंड्स अ ग्रेटर अपॉर्चुनिटी टू नो विद चेंजिंग सिचुएशंस एवरी नाउ एंड देन. That's basically the way I look at managing the risks. बाकी उसकी फिर mitigation और कौन उसकी ownership लेगा, that pretty much depends from organization and the type of risks. So I'll leave it here, welcoming Major Zuhair once more. Mashallah, Major Zuhair और मेरा ताल्लुक तो बहुत पुराना है, लेकिन थोड़ा सा जो interaction है, this has been for last 5-6 years. और I'm sure आप सब उनके जो sharing है उसको enjoy करेंगे. And have a good session for next 40 odd minutes, whatever we are left with. Over to you, Major Zuhair.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir Nadeem. Major Zuhair, please give me some minute. We have an icon of hand icon. If anyone have a question, you can write on a check box और आप hand icon को press करें. मैं कोशिश यही करूँगा कि जैसे हम session close करें तो उसके बाद presentation close हो तो उसके बाद हम सारे question लें. लेकिन कोई उसके दौरान कोई ज़्यादा important है तो I will make some request to Major Zuhair कि उसको दरमियान में जवाब दे दें. अदरवाइज आप चैट बॉक्स में जो है वो क्वेश्चन लिख सकते हैं, आप हैंड रेज कर सकते हैं, और आई विल रिक्वेस्ट एवरीबॉडी कि आप चैट बॉक्स में अपना इंट्रोडक्शन लाजमी लिख दें, सब लोग में आइडिया हो जाए दूसरे आपके कोलीग्स को कि कौन कौन लोग बैठे हुए हैं. थैंक यू. ओवर टू मेजर ज़ुहैर.
Thank you so much, Shiraz, and thank you so much, Sir Nadeem, for a great, introduction of the topic, and also thank you so much for all the members of Corporate Security Council who are here today. It's goes without saying that it's a great honor, and I'm really grateful to Shiraz for giving me this opportunity, and he's doing, I think, a great job for the Corporate Security Council, keeping us, all, updated and knowledgeable about various topics. So, I would really request everyone to please keep your mics mute. And as Shiraz said, during, because I cannot see the messages at the moment, so Shiraz will be actually helping me out with this. You can write your questions, and I will definitely be, we will be discussing at the end, because this is going to be an interactive session. It's by no means an exhaustive and conclusive, presentation or lecture from my end, because it's a very evolving topic, as Major Nadeem hinted. So इसमें I would definitely be, looking for your participation, and at the end we can discuss how we can further dwell on this topic and make our job more easier. So, as I said, this would be an interactive session. I'm really honored to see, very distinguished security managers in the audience today. Much more knowledgeable and qualified than me in this topic as well. So I'll definitely be looking up to them for their contribution. Hope you all can see the screen, and please bear with me for next few minutes, and then we'll open up for discussion. Before we move ahead, let me just, for those who, are not very convincing, with me, I've been associated with the military for about 13 years before, taking early voluntary retirement in 2011. I've been on peacekeeping mission with the United Nations and also in the Pakistan Rangers since on deputation. In my corporate life, I've been associated with Wadi Telecom and now part of Philip Morris International and British Council for last 10 years or so. I've more than 20 years of professional experience, and still learning. My current entrepreneurial ventures, I'm currently heading Excalibur global company, which is a training company, Risk Your Enterprise, which is a safety and security consultancy, and Mind Arts, which is basically psychological and psychotherapy, mental health related venture. In pursuit of my self-development, I've attained the CPP, Bosch certification, certain training from Pro Training UK. I'm pursuing CSCP from ISMI, and I'm a member of various teams across the globe, just to keep myself abreast and fulfill the my urge for personal development. So getting back to the corporate security risks 2022. Before we just move ahead, just to refresh, I understand every one of us being a very distinguished corporate security manager, that we know what the risk management cycle is, but just very quickly, just to brush up our memories and knowledge that a risk management cycle contains risk identification, risk assessment, risk evaluation, and risk treatment. And in risk treatment, either we avoid the risk, we reduce the risk, we transfer the risk, or we accept the risk. Since we'll be discussing later about the risk management, but let's look at the global perspective when we talk about the risk management and the security risk for this 2022. So the World Economic Forum recently has published its 17th edition of the Global Risk Report 2022, and Iskander, they have highlighted various risks globally. These are the risks for the next short-term global risk for next 2 years, which includes the extreme weather, livelihood crises, climate action failure, social cohesion erosion, infectious diseases, which includes the current pandemic, mental health deterioration because of various factors, cybersecurity failure, debt crisis, digital inequality, and asset bubble burst. These are the various risk, short-term risks identified by global risk. And these are the top 10 global risks by their severity for next coming 10 years. This is climate action failure, extreme weather, biodiversity loss, social cohesion erosion, livelihood crises, infectious diseases, human environmental damage, natural resource crises, debt crises, and geoeconomic confrontation. These are, as you all know, the global risks, which are economic, environmental, geopolitical, societal, and technological. Security related control risk, I'm sharing this. I know I've come across people which actually do not 100% agree, and I'm not here endorsing what control risk is saying 100%, but control risk is a credible and potent source of security risk mapping. So they have also shared the risk map for 2020. Political risk map, operational risk map, terrorism, cyber, and security. So they have actually categorized all the risks to businesses in these categories. As you can see, always going by their definition, Pakistan is high on almost all the risks. Politically, Pakistan is on, generally medium, but some part of Balochistan and KPK are high, whereas the FATA areas, the tribal areas adjacent Afghanistan, they are categorized as extreme political risk. Operational point of view, generally Pakistan has been categorized, marked as high risk. Islamabad area is of medium, whereas the area adjacent Afghanistan border, again, they are operationally extremely risky. Terrorism control risk ने पाकिस्तान को generally high risk declare किया हुआ है. Islamabad once again is medium. Rest, some of the parts of Balochistan, tribal areas, and some border areas, tri-borders areas are marked as extreme risk as far as the terrorism concerned. As far as the cyber risk is concerned, Pakistan has been marked as high, and this is good for most of the countries because of the digital vulnerabilities the whole globe is facing at the moment because lack of governance. We'll be talking about it later. And as far as the security is concerned, इसमें why they have put cyber security, political and operational risk separately. सिक्योरिटी के अंदर उन्होंने जो रिस्क हैं which actually are threatening the financial, physical and human assets of a company, उनको उन्होंने couple किया, which basically are comprising of the threats of military conflict, insurgency, targeted attacks or terrorist attacks, and as well as the disruptions in terms of strikes, riots, and organized crime. So unko categorize karke, they have actually come up with this security map, and you can see iske andar Pakistan is, again, as far as the security is concerned, is high on ranking, whereas some part of Balochistan and KPK and tribal areas and tri-border areas between the three provinces is marked as extreme as far as security is concerned. So this is what the control risk has perceived about Pakistan, and this is what most of the outside world look at Pakistan in terms of various risks are concerned. So in a nutshell, the control risk has identified 5 major risks. One is the geopolitical risk because of various states trying to gain control. Then this dysfunctional and vulnerable states which emerge because of the fragile economies due to pandemic and regional conflicts. Then there are cyber risks because of exponential digitalization and increased dependencies on the cyber, and then lack of preparedness by governments, and in some cases alleged state sponsorship for cyber attacks. Terrorism, the external world, as per control risk, sees the Taliban rule in Afghanistan as potentially a contributor towards global terrorism because of lack of governance and potential, areas to promote and refuge the terrorist outfits. And because of the pandemic and fragile economies, a lot of globally, a lot of states have weakened in terms of their counterterrorism capabilities. And finally, operational risks because of increased frequency of natural hazards due to climate change. This was, a sort of a global perspective around the security risks. So I just want, before we move ahead, to establish the connectivity of risk. Nadeem ne bhi kaha, we need to look at the broader side of the risk. So in my reckoning, we can discuss about it later, that these political risks, terrorism, cyber risk, and operational risk as identified by control risk, they all in one way or the other contribute towards security risk. All risks at the end of the day, they have some impact and some contribution towards security risk. As they all say, at the end of the day, it all boils down to security. So all these risks, they contribute towards security risk. As coming over to Pakistan context, I believe, and as per my, understanding and with various open sources, I feel that these are, some of the major factors which contributes towards the security risk. The political uncertainty, political activism and unrest, geopolitical alignment of Pakistan with the price hike and due to the fragile economy, socioeconomic inequality, the ever-widening gap between the classes, the increasing religious extremism and activism. We have seen a lot of examples and demonstrations and manifestations in the recent past. Nationalism, giving way for disgruntled outfits, targeting the rate of government, organized crimes, lack of infrastructure, security, law enforcement, health and education, and others as well, lack of governance and law, and exponential digital footprint, and climate change. I believe, I understand that these are some of the major factors in Pakistan which significantly contribute towards the security risks we all face, in our organizations and businesses. COVID-19, as we all know, has contributed significantly in intensifying majority of security risks due to its socio-economic impact. It has affected the economies, it has affected the financial standing of various businesses, which has in terms, contributed towards the unemployment and widening the socio-economic gap within the society. Although Allah has been very kind, that Pakistan is on the trajectory of getting out of the impact, but again, as we all know, with the coming of every new variant, there is always a threat of impact of COVID-19, and unfortunately, it is feared to remain for coming couple of years at least. So let's talk about the top security risks in Pakistan for 2022. A disclaimer that the all risk we all know, it might be repetition. I'll be sharing their manifestation, then their impact on our businesses, and some of the mitigation which we can do. Some mitigation might be good for number of risks, but this is very high end, and as I already said, they are not exhaustive, and they are not conclusive. They are not specific to one industry, but generically the business in Pakistan. They are the security risk for majority and businesses in Pakistan. So first of all, the political unrest and increased activism, political activism. As you all know, this is the fourth year of the current government, and 2023 is believed to be the election year. So all the parties would in 2022 start preparing for the elections. We will see increase in political activism, and resultantly potential political unrest. The opposition will exert more pressure on government, and as we all know, they would try to unhinge the current government within this year before the next elections. The religious political parties, which are gaining traction, especially TLP, will utilize their followership to create unrest, and to gain political grounds, to have more share in the next elections. In my view, Karachi and Punjab would be the major arenas for political unrest and activism in coming months, especially within this 2022. So its impact, it's the operational delays because of the unrest, transportational and logistical delays for all those majority of companies and organizations and businesses in Pakistan. They rely on the transportation, the logistics and supply chains. So there would be an impact, travel restrictions for staff, and it might impact on sales and project delivery. Restriction for operations in specific geographical areas because of the political unrest, and it will definitely have financial and reputational loss for various organizations, and it's a financial and reputational risk. So mitigation is, we will definitely, as ever, the security managers, they need to have means for situational awareness and updates, keep having enough grip on the ever-changing security environment in the country, and whenever there are political activism and unrest, we need to have credible means to keep ourselves situationally aware. Robust supply chain and logistical security measures, which may include but not only the route assessments. If your reliance is on the logistical transportation, so the route assessments, when the political unrest and it is the risk is high, your team and yourself should know which route is safer as compared to the rest. They need to have a route assessment which needs to be regularly reviewed, and goes without saying that drivers must be trained to deal with certain situations when they actually find themselves in an area where there is political unrest. Staff awareness training is again very important, and engagement with all the stakeholders, as Major Nadeem indicated also, that it's also very important that staff, they know when they find themselves in such scenario, how they have to react and how they have to keep themselves away from certain risks, and close liaison with law enforcement agencies to have great live updates and support when needed in certain situations. Religious extremism and sectarianism, that's basically a risk which has been, been carried forward with many years. However, we have seen certain very, undesirable uh, situations in recent past, which demonstrate and manifest the religious extremism in Pakistan. Um, so its manifestation could be that protest and unrest on religious issues by religious political parties, especially TLP, sectarian conflict, especially during and around sacred religious months, to create sectarianism and to create the uh, unrest in the country. Abuse of anti-blasphemy laws by miscreants against minorities to create unrest and malign the country's standing. We have already seen, by no means, I'm trying to undermine the laws, but there is always a potential for people with vested interest to misuse and abuse the laws in, gaining their interest and against the vulnerable communities in Pakistan. And then disgruntled employees resorting to violence because of, after provocation because of their religious sentiments. So its impact again could be operation delays because of the religious unrest. We have seen in the past, some of the cities because of the religious protest have, almost come to standstill, significantly impacting the businesses. Again, transportation and logistical delays, potential for violence within the organization based on employees' religious, ethnic, and sectarian identity. And it would be a financial, reputation, and potential people's loss if some of the manifestations come to life. The mitigation measures, again, we need to have means for situational awareness and updates. Robust supply chain, logistical security measures should be in place. Staff background checks. We need to know if there are any potential without going into privacy matters and racial or religious profiling. But staff background checks, they are already in place in almost most of the organizations, but they have to be strict and proper. We believe a lot of security managers out there would actually second me that in most of the cases the security background checks, the police verification processes are not reliable. We need to look into that so that we have a clear picture of previous people's affiliations, both political and religious, so that we know if there is any potential risk within our own ranks. There has to be systems in place for reporting on behavioral changes. There, the security managers will, and have to take on board other stakeholders like, the human resource department, so that, they have the systems in place so that staff who feel and see changes in behaviors of others, they can easily and discreetly report so that, that can be mitigated. Internal intelligence network, it's unique, but in some organizations, security managers, they have an internal intelligence network. The people, especially when they have labor issues, union issues, and then when there is a, the workforce is huge. So you may, have the security champions or people who, again, depending upon your connectivity with, people around you who could, give you the real picture within the organization whenever there is a potential behavioral changes and issues with the some of the staff members. And again, the staff awareness training to deal with such kind of situations is very necessary and essential. Terrorism, unfortunately, this risks has always been there in its varied capacities and degrees. We have just seen a few days back a resurgence of one outfit which manifested in an explosion in Lahore in a very crowded area, resulting in human loss. So this again is one of the major risks for this year as well. Its manifestation can be, targeting of government infrastructure, soft targets, places of worship, military and law enforcement agencies, and significantly Chinese interest and CPEC projects. Major perpetrators would be, TPP, the BNA, which has been newly formulated, Baloch National Army, Daesh elements, and hostile agencies, and then there could be other as well. Mostly the parts of Balochistan, tribal areas, and major cities in all provinces are potential targets and areas where terrorism can occur. Impact of business. We have seen, we have in the recent history and past that the businesses themselves have seldom been the target of terrorism, but it could be, collateral damage, at a wrong place at a wrong time, and at times they may pose a soft target for opportunity, as an opportunity target for terrorists. So there will be impact on businesses which are in close and regular contact with government and law enforcement agencies. There could be a collateral damage. Severe impact on Chinese organizations and those working on CPEC projects, and that would entail enhanced, security for those companies and projects. There could be restrictions for operation in specific geographical areas because of their high, risk profile in terms of terrorism, and it definitely would be financial and people lost if this is manifested in reality. Its mitigation, we have to have risk assessment for certain areas of operation. Wherever the business is operating, there has to be a specific risk assessment in terms of terrorism, the risk of terrorism, executive protection for company management and expatriates, and the right profile versus high and low profile. We have always used a term, in security, that there is a high profile security, or we have to keep a low profile. I believe there is no high or low profile. There is a right profile. In certain times, you need to have a high profile and a visible security to ward off, the street crimes and that. But sometimes you have to go for low profile to avoid presenting yourself as a target. So you have to adapt as per the situation to to carry on with the right profile. Access control systems for your own premises to ward off any act of terrorism. You have to go for those 4Ds. Then there has to be a robust physical and electronic systems at your premises, enhancing and complementing the robust access control system. Coming over to the crimes, they could be organized crimes, dedicated crimes, the street crimes, and kidnapping. The manifestation could be kidnapping of executives. The issue with kidnapping is that the data which is available on, as per the open source is never accurate, because in most cases they are not reported. And even if they are kidnapping, so organizations try to keep that, low, so that, because of obvious, risk. So the exact intensity of this risk, of the kidnapping, is very difficult to evaluate. So, but it remains high on the risk chart. Then roadside robbery, car hijacking and marking with, your own staff, hijacking and robbery of product delivery truck van, counterfeit products in the market, theft and pilferages and losses within supply chain. Your high-profile employees, expatriate, international visitors would be vulnerable for such crimes. Staff well-being and mental health could be impacted. Operations could be restricted, and definitely it will be a financial and reputational loss. Some of the mitigation measures are repetitive: executive protection, right profile, robust supply chain, risk assessment, and staff awareness training. Insider threat, social engineering. Because of the lack of control, because of the work from home, and lack of IT controls. So the insider threat and social engineering is ever is more significant in these days than it was ever. There could be disgruntled employees resorting to criminal means for financial gains that may include the unrest and protest and strikes by your labor unions as well. Data theft by employees for competitors. Disgruntled and disillusioned security guard resorting to violence because of the multiple factors and pressures, socioeconomic and others. Security breach by employees and financial fraud, theft, and pilferage. That will be loss of valuable data, financial reputation loss, product loss, if some employee fiddles with the product itself, and threat to people's life as well. A robust access control and exit control systems need to be in place. ITSS registration and tagging system should be there. Staff background checks, robust checks, and discouragement of late sitting. And there has to be processes for late sitting permission. A study revealed that most financial frauds were done by people who would either come early in the morning or sit late in the morning, because they felt in the evening, because they felt that they were not being watched. And again, with people working from home, this threat is higher if we don't have controls in place. Security guards के साथ engagement बहुत ज़रूरी है. We have to keep engaging with them, and they have to इनके जो behaviors, and we have to constantly review them, and again rely and develop an internal intelligence network to deal with this insider threat. Cyber attacks and digital vulnerabilities. Company where websites could be hacked, ransom could be demanded by the hackers. आपका confidential data जो है that can be published. Staff का भी हो सकता है, employees, clients, and आपका staff का computer can be hacked to steal data if they are not properly adhering to the IT controls. This could be the again same impact, but could have legal ramifications as well. We need to have robust IT security controls, IT asset and registration tracking, staff cyber security training. A lot of organizations go for insurance against such attacks, ransom, and also robust physical security, because the the cyber security go in hand with the physical security as well. Because of the enhanced dependency, in the recent years, especially after the COVID, a lot of people are going digital, but the controls, the measures are not commensurating with the use of digital space. Finally, the national disaster and calamity. Um, Flash floods, especially because आपने देखा कि we have seen this time, winters are unprecedented. I'm still, feeling cold at the moment, and there have been, heavy snowfall in the northern areas. So that would entail a risk of flash floods, and in summers. Earthquake is again, Pakistan is lying on the fault line where earthquake are frequent, and infectious diseases, which may include, which includes the pandemic COVID-19, and fire, the natural disaster. That could entail operational delays, especially flash floods. There will be inundated areas, and if you are operating in certain areas, so which are flooded, so your supply chain can be disrupted. You can have logistical delay, project delivery may, sales may, आपका they would be impact, um, or operation could be suspended because of these issues. Critical staff shortage हो सकती है जिसकी वजह से आपका impact on production operation हो सकता है. Financial reputation, because there could be have people's loss as well. Again, we have to mean for situational update, robust supply chain, आपको route assessment, drivers training, risk assessment for areas of operations where the risk of flash floods is high. Staff ki emergency training in these calamities is very important, and to deal with the COVID-19 and its variants, it's very important to encourage staff to get full vaccination and follow safe practices. As I said, COVID-19 will unfortunately keep impacting the businesses in 2022 as well. Now, very quickly, some of, as security managers, some of the challenges and responsibilities, some of the challenges which face and our responsibilities to navigate them. We all have heard that perception is stronger than reality. There are strong, and there are strong perceptions about the real risk for Pakistan, about the real image of Pakistan, about the severity of the threats, about the lawfulness or lawlessness in Pakistan, about the capacity of security functions. So my advice is that paint the real picture of reality, promote and promulgate the real image of Pakistan through pragmatic and evidence-based approach. Just Sir Nadeem ne bhi kaha, we don't have to either overplay a threat or underplay it. Okay? Never overpromise. Always be open about your challenges. Be realistic and practice. Yes, everything is possible, but you need to have right resources. So, but ho jayega, hum kar lenge. At times, that kind of behavior may create issues and problems and overall security risk for the company. Are we really prepared? Because most organization, हम लोग जो है ना, हमारे पास documented security process, emergency procedures नहीं है. That is why, अगर हैं भी तो वो seldom practice होते हैं. They're just part of, a document somewhere lying, but it's not being referred. That is why most of the security managers, they often remain busy in firefighting. So my suggestion is we need to have emergency response plans. ये जो on screen पे आप देख रहे हैं, they are not conclusive. They could be more as per your organizational need, but they're just not only to be written, but also be regularly practiced, in your organization, so the people know, okay, if something happens, how they have to, react. Just, please know that the overall corporate management, जो है, risk management is part of crisis. It is, they all are linked with crisis management and business continuity planning. आपके risk जो है treatment के अंदर, आपकी business continuity planning is very important. कि in case when a risk is, it materializes, so आपने how you have to keep your business running. That basically is the basic one of the major and significant responsibility of an a security manager. And it's not your only job, not only your job, but of course it's a teamwork. You have to engage with all the stakeholders to manage the security risks, and whenever there are crises arising, to lead the crisis management and ensure the business continuity planning. So as part of the mitigation measures, आप अपनी risk management जो processes हैं, you have to establish them, you have to review them. At least the risk management जो है, risk assessment जो है, that I suggest should be more than once and annually, so at least 6 months may, because of the changing and dynamic situation in Pakistan. They have to be regularly reviewed. Crisis management and business continuity plans should be in place so that you can ensure safe continuation of your operations, or early recovery of your operations whenever there is a crisis. Another challenge is fake news and misinformation. We have a lot of dependency on social media for security updates. Social media, which is the hub of misinformation, we can argue on that. It's very difficult to extract the information from within the garbage, misinformation. And there is a breaking news syndrome that हमने पहले break कर दिया. So in terms, because of that, at times there are a lot of fake news and misinformation out there. So what we need to do, I think I suggest that we always look for the authenticity and credibility of the source of the info, news and info. Resist the urge of being the news breaker that मैंने सबसे पहले बताना अपनी management को. If you're not certain about the authenticity or credibility of the news or info, must mention so, because KG not yet confirmed, so that the reaction and actions taken on them are accordingly. You need to you should and must always mention the source of the news when sharing it ahead. Don't share a news unless it is confirmed by multiple sources. And please, my take on this is social media. जैसे आप WhatsApp group के अंदर अगर 4 बंदों ने भी एक information share किया, that's one source, because you have to go for multiple other sources as well. Beware, don't become unwittingly the tool for rumor mongering and panic spread. And finally, we need to differentiate between a gossip and a real news. Keep looking beyond the horizon in search of the unforeseen, because that is, I believe, is the core essence of security management. Someone said that just beyond the horizon of the so-called impossible is infinite possibility. Thank you so much. And if you have, if you want to connect, you have information on the screen. If you need more information or any support and interaction outside of this presentation today, you're always welcome to contact and interact with me. Questions, if any? Thank you so much.
Thank you, thank you so much for your time. If anyone have a question, please raise your hand. एक icon बना हुआ है raise hand का, जिन्होंने team use की है, they know this. आप chat box में भी लिख सकते हैं. आपके क्वेश्चन हैंड रेज कर लेंगे तो उससे इजी हो जाएगा. मैं उन लोगों को जो है माइक उनका अनम्यूट कर दूंगा ताकि वो क्वेश्चन कर सकें. जिनका माइक अवेलेबल नहीं है या कोई इशू है वो चैट बॉक्स पे कर लें. एनी क्वेश्चन?
शिराज, आई थिंक चैट बॉक्स में कुछ क्वेश्चन हैं.
जी बिल्कुल, मैं वही पढ़ने लगा हूँ. मैं उसको सर Zuhair, ये क्वेश्चन दिस इज कैप्टन साजिद फ्रॉम नेस्ले पाकिस्तान. उनका क्वेश्चन है जी, व्हाट आर द की इंडिकेटर्स दैट एन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन कैन क्लेम दैट वी हैव अ स्ट्रॉन्ग सिक्योरिटी कल्चर? नदीम साहब, आप और Zuhair साहब में से कोई भी इसका आंसर दे सकता है.
So Nadeem, they're talking about this, security culture. If I just, very quickly, I think for me the basic evidence, you have to there have to be an evidence. You have to demonstrate there is a strong security culture. The number of security breaches, the number of incidents, that definitely would entail कि security culture है कि नहीं है. And then I think the basic essence of a good security culture is top to bottom. If the senior management is promoting, exhibiting behaviors which contribute towards a good security behavior, so that actually manifests that organization may have a strong security culture where the security is given a place on the decision making, where security is brought in before any new venture is taken on, rather than when they hit the wall and then they resort to security team. So I think these are one of the few of the areas which would indicate that an organization have a strong security culture. So Nadeem.
You're embarrassing me calling Sir Nadeem. मैं 2-3 दफा पहले रिक्वेस्ट कर चुका हूँ. Better like to be called my first name. Anyhow, मैं इस क्वेश्चन को बड़ा इंटरेस्टिंगली थोड़ा इस पे सोच रहा था. I think culture is the most difficult feature or trait of any organization to measure. So once we talk of culture, it got to be first looked at the holistic organizational culture, top down, bottom up, people based focused है नहीं है, process focused है. फिर जहां तक बात रह जाती सिक्योरिटी कल्चर की, प्लीज forgive me if I sound like making a sweeping statement. हम एज अ नेशन ही कोई ज्यादा सिक्योरिटी कल्चर के इतने हामी नहीं हैं. The recent incident in Murray, what happened, मतलब पूरी की पूरी जनता वहां पहुंच गई और at the end of the day we had few heads to mark. I'm little perplexed what to say not, but to answer the question very directly, your security culture can actually be embedded or it can be made appear on the organizational canvas अगर security managers खुद कुछ activities ऐसी करते हैं, and those activities are primarily show of force, not by just getting a security officer या guard जो है वो अच्छे कद काट वाला हो, by creating activities जहां पे आप अपने business के stakeholders को ये demonstrate करें कि they are in safe hands. Otherwise, I don't find किसी भी दुनिया के मुल्क में at least the ones that I have worked or traveled with, senior management का ये dilemma होता है, they have least time for security. Safety क्योंकि compliance perspective है तो थोड़ा ज़्यादा सुनी जाती है उनकी बात, security को judge ही किया जाता है when things do not go the right way. So the only way to turn around the perception, बड़ी अच्छी बात वो जुहैर ने कही थी कि perception is always stronger than the reality. तो इन चीज़ों को surface करने के लिए लाजमी हम पे है कि हम activities, drills, exercises create करें. There's always good hope कि कोई plan काम आएगा. But I'm not too sure कि in a situation or as we today are, बड़े complex challenges हैं. कौन मैनेजर जो है कितने प्लान रेडी कर चुका होगा और कितनी ट्रेनिंग्स हो चुकी होंगी. So the better option is building the capabilities and capacity rather than building plans. I hope that sort of gives an vague or daunted answer to the culture aspect. It's a difficult one, but Sajid Karim, thank you for a very good question.
Thank you, sir. Sir Amar Munshi,
काइंडली मैं इसमें थोड़ा सा ऐड करना चाहूंगा. मेरी पता नहीं आवाज आ रही है या नहीं आ रही.
सर इंट्रोडक्शन करा दीजिएगा अपना पहले.
मेरा नाम इजाज है और मैं डेनमार्क एम्बेसी में पिछले 12-13 साल से जॉब कर रहा हूँ. ये जो क्वेश्चन है इसको मैं थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करना चाहूंगा और फिर आंसर भी दूंगा. इसमें यह है कि सबसे पहले तो जुहैर को मुबारकबाद, उन्होंने बहुत अच्छी प्रेजेंटेशन दी है और ये बहुत अच्छा कल्चर डेवलप हो रहा है हमारे अंदर कि हम अवेयरनेस ऐसी उठा रहे हैं कि जिसकी वजह से सिक्योरिटी मैनेजर्स अपनी कैपेसिटी और अपनी जो कैपेबिलिटी है वो इम्प्रूव करेंगे। ये बहुत ही अच्छा इनिशिएटिव ज़ुहैर ने लिया है और मैं उस पर उनको मुबारकबाद देता हूँ। बुनियादी तौर पे ऐसा होता है कि सबसे पहले रिस्क डिफाइन किए जाते हैं और उसके बाद वो सिक्योरिटी को हम लॉन्च करते हैं। इसमें जो मैं समझाऊँ ये क्वेश्चन वो ये है कि आप अपनी सिक्योरिटी को कैसे जज करेंगे कि वो अच्छी है या नहीं है, या बहुत अच्छी है या दरमियानी है या कैसी है। बुनियादी तौर पे मेरा ख्याल है कि क्वेश्चन ये था। इसके कुछ टूल्स हैं कि आप वो टूल्स अप्लाई करते हैं। कोई आदमी जजमेंट से देख के ये नहीं कह सकता कि फलानी सिक्योरिटी अच्छी है या अच्छी नहीं है। टूल्स वो हैं कि जो मेजरेबल हैं, आप उनको कैलकुलेट कर सकते हैं। आज ये 10 पे हैं, कल ये 20 पे थे, या इस तरह जिस तरह भी, लेकिन वो मेजरेबल हैं, उसमें न्यूमेरिकल उनका इस्तेमाल होता है। तो वो सबसे पहले आपको जब आप काम करेंगे तो आपको KPIs बनानी पड़ेंगी, और KPIs भी जो हैं वो ऐसी होनी चाहिए कि जो मेजरेबल्स हो। इन KPIs को शामिल करके, जैसे नदीम ने कहा है कि ड्रिल्स बार बार ड्रिल्स करेंगे, जिसकी वजह से आपकी KPIs इंप्रूव होंगी। और आखिर में ऑडिट होता है, सिक्योरिटी ऑडिट होता है, जिसमें ये सारी चीजें कवर हो जाती हैं कि जिससे आपको पता चल जाता है कि आप किधर स्टैंड कर रहे हैं। और जब आपके पास 4 या 5 साल के ऑडिट्स होंगे तो आपको बिल्कुल क्लियरली पता चलेगा कि पहले साल क्या था, फिर हमने ये किया तो दूसरे साल क्या था, इसी तरह तीसरे, चौथे और पांचवें साल में। ऑडिट बुनियादी तौर पर आपका वो टूल है जिससे आपको पता है कि आपकी सिक्योरिटी कहाँ पर स्टैंड कर रही है। इसमें एक उसको आप पेनिट्रेशन एक्सरसाइजेस भी कहते हैं, ड्रिल्स भी कहते हैं, लेकिन ऑडिट बेसिकली द लास्ट आउटकम होता है किसी भी सिक्योरिटी को जज करने के लिए। थैंक यू।
थैंक यू सर इजाज। आमिर मुंशी साहब ने हैंड रेस किया हुआ था।
जी अस्सलाम वालेकुम, दिस इज आमिर मुंशी। हैंड रेस किया था, फिर नीचे भी कर दिया था, बट नेवरदलेस आई जस्ट वांटेड टू अप्रिशिएट द एफर्ट्स ऑफ द ऑर्गेनाइजर्स एंड ज़ुहैर को बहुत बहुत मुबारक। बहुत अच्छी उसने प्रेजेंटेशन दी एंड बड़ी पर्टिनेंट प्रेजेंटेशन थी, और बड़े अच्छे पॉइंट्स इसमें रेस किए गए। जस्ट वांटेड टू हाईलाइट अनदर पॉइंट जो कि ज़ुहैर ने भी रेस किया है, उसके ऊपर वो क्या है, लेकिन मैं मजीद उसके ऊपर जो है वो एम्फसाइज करना चाहूँगा। दैट पॉइंट इज इनसाइडर थ्रेट या इनसाइडर रिस्क। मैं स्टैंडर्ड चार्टर्ड बैंक में काम करता हूँ और इसके ऊपर हम बहुत एम्फसिस करते हैं, और कभी कभार हमें फ्रस्ट्रेशन भी होती है कि हम इतना जो है वो इंटरनल चेक्स रखते हैं, GSSP एंड एवरीथिंग, बैकग्राउंड चेक्स और फाइनेंशियल एंड क्रिमिनल एंड एवरीथिंग, बट ये बहुत बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट है इररिस्पेक्टिव ऑफ द फैक्ट कि इसमें फ्रस्ट्रेट होते हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा ऑन बोर्डिंग में इश्यूज आते हैं गार्ड्स के और वो सारा कुछ। तो ये जो इनसाइडर रिस्क होता है ये बहुत इम्पॉर्टेंट होता है किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को सिक्योर करने के लिए। तो आई जस्ट वांटेड टू एम्फसाइज ऑन दिस थिंग एंड अगेन फैसिलिटेशन टू द ऑर्गेनाइजर्स and बहुत बहुत मुबारक to Major Zuhair for a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you sir Amir. Any other question please? आप चैट को देख सकते हैं।
चैट में कैप्टन साजिद ने लिखा था कि आई थिंक उनसे पहले करीम सैद ने लिखा है कि UN ने इस्लामाबाद को declare कर दिया assembly station, so how Islamabad is being marked with high risk by road risk mark. So I just want to clarify, जैसा मैंने उसमें बताया था, only इस्लामाबाद जो है वो कंट्रोल रिस्क ने लोअर किया हुआ है रिस्क के अंदर एज कम्पेयर टू दैट। सो इस्लामाबाद जो आपने कहा, इट इज़ अगेन उन्होंने भी है एज पर कंट्रोल रिस्क, इस्लामाबाद इज comparatively safer than rest of the country. So it's not marked high contrary to UN, but it's complementing what UN has done it. Or I think Captain Sajid ने safety and security की बात की है कि we have to differentiate and segregate. तो Captain Sajid sir, I totally agree. बट जनरली जो हम बात करते हैं सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी की, आई थिंक ये इट्स अ वेरी के वही वाली बात है कि अंडा पहले आया था या मुर्गी पहले आई थी, तो सेफ्टी एंड सिक्योरिटी की जो डेफिनेशन के अंदर काफ़ी होते हैं, बट इसको जनरली वी ऑल एग्री कि ऑपरेशनली सेफ्टी जो है दैट इज बेसिकली your occupational safety, and the safety incidents are those which are unintentional and natural occurrences. कोई गलती से आग लग गई या किसी की होगी, तो वो दैट and slips हैं, trips हैं, that is safety incidents. Weather hazards and natural disasters are also safety hazards. Security incidents जो जिसके अंदर आपकी mal intentions, जो human element का जो intentions हैं वो आती हैं, तो बड़ी very quickly defining the difference between safety and security. But जो आज की प्रेजेंटेशन के अंदर मैंने आपको उस वक्त भी मैंने पहले इसमें शेयर करने की कोशिश की थी कि जितने भी रिस्क हैं इंक्लूडिंग सेफ्टी रिस्क, दे इन सम वे और द अदर कंट्रीब्यूट टुवर्ड द सिक्योरिटी रिस्क. अगर खुदा ना खास्ता आपकी प्रेमिसेस में अनइंटेंशनली आग भी लगती है, तो दैट कैन एक्चुअली कन्वर्ट इनटू अ सिक्योरिटी रिस्क, क्योंकि आपको दे कैन बी प्रिविलेजेस, दे कैन बी mal intentions of other kind of damage. And ये जो बात की मरी वाली भी जो इंसिडेंट था, अगेन इफ यू अंडरस्टैंड, इन सम केसेस जब इस तरह का कोई नेचुरल डिजास्टर आता है जिसकी वजह से रोड ब्लॉक्स होती हैं, तो दैट कैन अगेन जहाँ स्ट्रीट क्राइम शुरू हो जाते हैं, रोड साइड रॉबरीज शुरू हो जाती हैं, पीपल आर चार्ज, उन्होंने जो आई गेस जब जो विदाउट एनी नेमिंग, ब्लेमिंग, शेमिंग, विदाउट गोइंग इनटू डिटेल्स, अगर कोई बंदा अगले की मजबूरी का फायदा उठा रहा है, उनको 5,000 का कमरा 40,000 में दे रहा है, तो आई थिंक दैट्स नॉट अ सेफ्टी इंसिडेंट, दैट इज बेसिकली इंटेंशनली अ सिक्योरिटी इंसिडेंट which is directly I think damaging or targeting people. So this is my take, again open for discussion, people have different views on that.
So thank you very much. Question को और नहीं है, we also हमारा टाइम थोड़ा सा हमने 10 मिनट ज़्यादा हो गए. So again request to नदीम सर ने कहा जिस सर न करें, तो जिस तरह हम बात कर रहे हैं, नदीम भाई again please आप closing remarks के लिए I will take you and show a way forward to security managers in Pakistan as well.
Thank you, Shiraz. Gentlemen, it was a great being here together. मैंने बाय पर्पस जुहैर को मुबारक या कोई शाबाशी देने की कोशिश नहीं की है, क्योंकि वो फिर सूरज को चिराग दिखाने वाली बात है. माशाल्लाह वेरी कॉम्पिटेंट. एक थोड़ी सी बात जिसको वो जब जुहैर अपनी प्रेजेंटेशन कर रहे थे तो कंट्रोल रिस्क का नाम आया, तो थोड़ा सा मोहतात भी हुए. वो ये एक डायलेमा है हमारे साथ. हम जब टेलकोज में देखते हैं तो वी गो टू द ग्लोबल स्टैंडर्ड्स, वी लुक एट द इंटरनेशनल फाइनेंशियल स्टैंडर्ड्स एटसेट्रा एटसेट्रा, लेकिन जब सिक्योरिटी की बात आती है तो वी टेंड टू रिस्ट्रिक्ट आवरसेल्फ विद इन व्हाट वी हैव विद इन द कंट्री. एक बड़ी अच्छी एक्सप्रेशन है दैट्स कॉल्ड अनलर्न. एट सम स्टेज वी ऑल हैव टू अनलर्न टू स्टार्ट लर्निंग. That being said, there is a caveat in this. मेरा ख्याल में अभी वो टाइम आ गया है, अगर कभी हम statistics देखें, countries which are no way close to Pakistan in terms of their economy, their human capital, अगर वहाँ पे international competencies देखी जाएं security managers की, so they score better off than us. So that's one message that I would want to leave. और दूसरा शिराज, देखें ये जो जुहैर ने किया, it was a very good session, more on the awareness side. ठीक है, हर बंदे ने इसको अपने कॉन्टेक्स्ट में देखा होगा. जो FMCG में है उनके लिए इसके डिफरेंट इम्पैक्ट है, जो लॉजिस्टिक्स में, so on so forth. Maybe in the next session we could look towards subjects which are collaborative and they encourage people from awareness instead of awareness to the application. So अगर application domain में हम जाएंगे तो I think average लोगों का फायदा ज्यादा होगा. उसके लिए probably we will need more time, we'll need more coordination. I'm happy to contribute my efforts in it as and when required. But overall, it's a good initiative that we all are getting together. Though thoda consistency एक challenge रहता है, and I hope कि Shiraz can get more sort of hands-on with this, ताकि वो ये कभी-कभी के मौसमी नगमे ना हो, एक continuous feature हो. We all know कि जी तीसरे Wednesday को या चौथे फ्राइडे को हमने इकट्ठे होना है और को बात करनी है. But thank you very much everybody for your time and attention. Zuhair, thank you for enlightening all of us, and look forward to catch up again.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Sir, that's my fault. I'm guilty. I'll keep on calling you certainly. And Shiraz and rest of the audience. It's really learning for me as well, and I'm open for interactions in future as well. Thank you so much, Shiraz, sir, and everyone.
Mr. Zuhair, if you could please share this PPT report through email, so it will be very good for us.
Please, dobara boliega.
I ask from Mr. Zuhair that please, if you could share this PPT report, PowerPoint presentation by email with us, so it will be very helpful for us.
Sure, it will be shared, and also it is a recorded session, so recording will be shared as well.
शिराज भाई वो श्री सुखन फाइज ने वॉलंटियर किया है नेक्स्ट सेशन के लिए, so grab the opportunity now.
Sir, he's living in my heart. Don't worry, he's not going anywhere.
चलिए.
Thank you.
Allah
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
God bless Pakistan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Zindabad.